one of the most haunted pubs in England, Llandoger Trow. Let's have a quick look. Now, it's a very brief look at the pub because I was on my way further to the west for a function, which I will bring out that place in another episode coming up really soon. But I had a quick time in Bristol, so I didn't have enough time to really investigate everything I saw there, but I was impressed with this pub. It dates back to 1664, and it was actually named by a sailor who owned the pub, and he named it after a place in Wales, apparently Llandoger. Sorry if I pronounced that wrongly. And it's where they used to make the flat-bottom boats, which they called throws. And I hope I pronounced that one right as well. Now, throws are flat-bottom boats which are very handy to use up and down the rivers, and they usually have a tall mast, and apparently the mast were detachable, as in you could lower it when they went under low bridges, and then they'd put the mast back up. And apparently they was actually seaworthy as well. What you did was added a little weight at the bottom to keep it stable, and you could actually take it into sea. But that's a little brief history on the throw. And this place in Wales used to make them, and that's where he got the name from. And so he named his pub the Llandoger Trow. It's steeped in history because you had so many historical characters that actually would drink from there. And Bristol being a major seaport at the time, it's also where Edward Teach would drink from in about the late 1600s, early 1700s. And he's probably better known as Blackbeard, the pirate. That's a lot of the characters, the pirate characters, are based on. He actually had parts of his beard twirled up, and actually he would light it on fire. Obviously it would burn slowly. I don't know how he did it, but it would burn slowly, and there'd be smoke coming out to make him look more fierce and more frightening. He would pirate ships, go off in his ships and raid the other ships. There's a whole great big stories of his adventures. The pub attracted quite a lot of notable characters, like Daniel Defoe, who was a writer, journalist, trader, philanthropist, and he obviously drank there in the early 1700s. And that's where he met Alexander Selkirk, who became the inspiration for Robinson Crusoe. Alexander Selkirk was a castaway. He was left on an island. Actually, he wanted to be left on an island because he knew the ship he was on wasn't actually seaworthy, and he didn't want to be on that boat. So he was left on this deserted island that they actually stopped to replenish the boat with food. So he asked to stay on the island. And that's where he stayed for 4 years and 4 months till he was rescued. And so that's where William Defoe got the inspiration for Robinson Crusoe, the classic book on this man left on an island. And also through the years, we also had Robert Louis Stevenson. He was another writer in the late 1800s, probably well known for Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde and other famous books of that sort. And that's where he wrote Treasure Island. He obviously met the other drinkers and chatted with them and found out information. Because in Treasure Island, he writes about the pub called the Admiral Benbow, which is actually based on Llandoger Trow. Now, it's been a while since I've read Treasure Island, but you would think that the Admiral Benbow would actually be a good representation of what the Llandoger Trow would have been in its day. But so there's a few ideas on how popular this pub was. That you had all these people that actually were drinking in this pub in Bristol, in England, at the time. Now, they're the physical histories of it. However, it does have quite a few paranormal stories to it as well. Unfortunately, this was a very quick trip through Bristol, so I didn't really have time to investigate it fully. But there has been reports of about 15 ghosts inhabiting this pub, and it's been featured on quite a few paranormal shows as well. There's been reports of things moving around in the pub, like cutlery moving around, I believe pictures flying off the walls and things like that as well. But there's always noises heard on the very top floor. So maybe something happened on the very top floor. After all, that's probably where the people used to live, or maybe where the guests would actually stay. Most pubs did have accommodation rooms. Who knows? But one of the ghosts that is mostly reported is Pierre. Now, he was a little boy, and he actually had one of his legs in a leg brace, and people say that they can still hear him walking around on the upper floors. And some people have actually said they've seen him looking out the window on to the people down below on the streets. And don't forget, back then, it would have been a road right in front of the pub. It wasn't a paved off pedestrian street. Well, it wasn't paved off and where we've got tables and chairs now. It would have been a street where horses and carriages would have driven by and stopped out the front as well. So things have changed for the pub, but it seems like the ghosts still stay there. And if time permitting, I may go back and investigate it further, maybe find out more of the different ghosts. But there are so many ghosts there, 15, as a lot of the reports say. And the most famous being Pierre, the little boy, still upstairs on the top floor. If you have any more information on the Llandoger Trow, about the ghosts or any other incidences, why don't you write them a comment below or get in touch and let me know. It'd be really interesting. I would have found out a lot more, would have liked to have found out a lot more, but unfortunately it was a very short trip and I was just whizzing through. If you've liked this episode, found it interesting, do tell your friends and share the video and press the like button. It'll help the channel, and also subscribe and click the bell and the notifications, and that way you won't miss out when I do bring out other videos. And I've got a whole lot coming up because, as I said, I went to the west, and I'll bring about a few more different places on Bristol and further to the west of England. And that was actually for a small country town or a small seaside town. It was quite interesting what I found. So stay tuned, press the subscribe so you won't miss out on that. And also, if you found this episode interesting and you'd like to buy me a drink, help the channel, the link is below. You can buy me a drink. And also have a look at our other links, because we do have, we are affiliated with the Psychic Tree, UK's #1 spiritual online shop. Prices are quite reasonable, and they've got worldwide shipping, which is reasonable as well. So if you're not in the UK, we can still get products to you as well. And you get 10% off your first order as well. And have a browse. There's a few other things I've got down there as well. So thanks for viewing. I hope you found this quite interesting. I found the Llandoger Trow very enlightening, that there's so much history for such a small town. Well, it seems to be a small town. It's a major city. And in fact, Bristol was nominated a few years ago as the best place to live in England. This is what I've been told. But I will bring more on Bristol in the coming weeks, and a few of my other stories. And I've got a few other stories planned as well, so don't miss out. And until next time, stay well and happy.